see me? Can you hear me?
And good morning and welcome to the Aired Out Podcast. It is a brand new day, ladies and gentlemen. The sun isn't quite shining. That's all right. We're checking the forecast here from Roger Hill, and he's saying get ready for the deep freeze. The snap is coming. Cloudy today and 17. We've got 6 tonight with clouds, and then tomorrow, still cloudy, 21. By now, we should be used to it, though. Afternoon snow showers. Thursday, 34. That's going to be the heat wave. Snow showers in the afternoon, but the deep freeze kind of pushes in a little bit on Friday, and really Saturday is just going to be brutal. What is it? Daytime high on Saturday, I think, of -1. Wow. Are we hardy folk up here in New England or what? Or just crazy? I don't know. Steve England, happy birthday to you today. Wendy Ducey, Harold Putney, Joe Major, Pearl Faith, and Dan Pope, all on the birthday list today. Facebook question of the day. And good morning, and thanks for tuning in this morning, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, no matter where you are. Appreciate your eyes and your ears. I hope you have a great start. What are your thoughts about Barry acquiring 143 Main Street, the J.J. Newberry building? What are your thoughts about this? There is so much chatter about the need for added housing. And I believe we have Kevin Ellis with us. Kevin, are you there? Can you hear me?
JD, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my brother. You sound fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm completely disorganized as usual without headphones and literally walking outside.
No, that's fine.
But I'm going to be inside in just a second.
Well, my guest this morning, if you're just tuning in, is the host of Conflict of Interest, a podcast, frankly, about the world. And on his site right now, it says, through a discerning lens of journalism, politics, and above all, Vermont, Kevin Ellis goes against the grain of today's politics and celebrity culture to talk about the massive change all around us and how the world actually works. This guy is, Kevin, you are somebody who at one point you and I were really trying to grab a cup of coffee together, and it never happened. It's going to happen now. It's got to, man. It's got to.
I'd be Pearl Street Pizza, right?
All right.
You know,
I will meet you there, man. How many? We're going to talk about some of the hats that you wear. Board chair of Downstreet Housing and Community Development right here in Barrie is one of those hats, which serves all of Central Vermont, Washington, Orange, and Lamoille counties. How has that been, being the board chair?
it has been one of the great honors of my life. I hate to sound trite in saying that, but it's been fantastic. We have grown Downstreet Housing from a little land trust in Barrie in dusty old offices to a sparkling new headquarters on Keith Avenue, and into a juggernaut that is building and renovating and maintaining affordable housing for people who otherwise would not be able to afford housing all over the region, as you said. And it's just been great. It helps, let me say, when you chair a board and you have an executive director in a woman named Angie Harbin, who is just one of the great superstars of Vermont. So it's been fantastic, and I'm glad to talk in greater detail if you want to do it.
And Sarah Madrew, the director of development, Nick Landry, operations manager. The list goes on, man. I mean, what a team over there.
Yeah, it is a fantastic team. Skylar Anderson, Rachel in compliance. I mean, the list goes on. We've grown from 30 plus people 5 years ago to 60 plus people now. And while growing your headcount is not necessarily a sign that you're doing your work better, um, this was only we only grew because the need was so great and because we had the money to do it and just build a lot more housing. So, if you've been up to the Berlin Mall and seen our new project up there and all around the region. So, yeah, the team has been incredible. And I get to chair the board and make sure that the trains run on time. But, the real work's done by the staff.
Yeah. What a development up there with Fox Run. Absolutely amazing. You know, when I drive through there, um, let's be honest, I used to drive very slowly because of the potholes.
Yeah.
Now that that road has been paved, I drive through. I still drive through there slowly just because I'm gazing at Fox Runs, just saying, "Wow!" I mean, so many years that we remember there being, frankly, nothing there, and now we've got this amazing housing complex.
Well, and if you think about it, if Berlin has been trying to sort of develop a town center there for years, and it's not Montpelier and it's not Wallingford, Vermont, but they're making a stab at it, and if you look at the new Fox Run development, and then across the street you've got the senior housing piece, which is nice. And then you got the mall and all
Yeah,
the stores. So you're starting to sort of build some synergy up there
yeah.
so that people, and you've got the
The
hospital. And
hospital.
so, so now you've got a kind of community. The kids who live at Fox Run can walk through the woods on a trail to go to the Berlin Elementary School.
Yeah,
So now you've started to build some community there. It's good for the mall owner who, he's got built-in shoppers. It's good for our people because they've got places to go and get the things they need. So, and then the hospital. So
yeah.
they can go to the doctor and there's public transportation. It's
You,
not perfect, but it's
yeah,
better than it was.
public transportation is huge. It comes right through there, big artery. But also, you can work at the hospital and live right there at Fox Run. You don't even need a car.
That's right. That's right. And that's always the goal, uh, is to make it easier for people. Having a car in today's society is not that easy. New cars now are, I don't know, 50,000 $40,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can get by without one, you're ahead of the game.
Downstreet Housing and Community Development, just a little bit over a month ago, was awarded a pretty good sized check for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Fund. Can you tell us about that? This was all designed to support new affordable housing right here in central Vermont. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And in a separate award, we were given many millions of dollars to buy the Quality Inn in Barrie and renovate it into a homeless services hotel, which we have done.
The Speranza
And
Inn.
yeah, the Speranza Inn. And we're really excited about it. And this is a place where homeless and formerly homeless can go with their 80-day voucher from the state, and they can get a clean room. They can get access to food and counseling and other support services, clothes, and case managers to talk to help them with their troubles. Uh, there hasn't been that option for our homeless neighbors. So that is up and running and fully booked and we're really proud of that. Yeah, the community development block grant is just going to, you know, open up our ability to continue to develop new projects and and help us improve the housing that we already have so that people have a safe, warm, dignified place to live.
Washington County and Lamoille County.
Yeah, the Lamoille County thing, you know, we were approached, and Angie has the real detail on this, but we were approached. Gosh, I think it's been 2 years ago now, by the folks up in Lamoille County saying we want to do more affordable housing up here. Would you guys consider sort of helping us out and taking over our what we do now? And we looked at it closely. We had looked at it in the past, and we decided in the end that it was the right thing to do. And these things are hard. You're taking an old organization, merging it with a new organization, um, and those things are never easy. But you're combining boards of directors and things like that. But I'm the guy always at the board meeting who says, if we don't do it, who's going to do it? And I that's been a good sort of watchword and philosophy as we've gone along here for the last. I think I've been on the board for 10 years. I think I've been board chair for 5, and my term is coming up in April. But if we don't do it, I always look around and say, how's it going to get done if we don't do it? Because we have the skills, we have the funds, we have the expertise. So why not?
Kevin, that check for the CDBGDR fund there that we're talking about was for $14.5 million.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of
Yeah.
money? Is that a good sized check? Um,
Yes.
comparatively to what needs to be done?
Yes. Well, number one, it's never enough because our country's lack of investment in new housing has been a black mark on all of us over the past 2 decades. We fell behind, number one. But number two, yes, that $14 million figure is a big number. I can't remember what the total number is that the state gave out, but we were among, if not the largest receiver of those funds. And a big thank you to Governor Phil Scott and his housing commissioner, Alex Farrell, uh, for making, and many others, for making that happen. And this is going to allow us to build a lot of new housing over the next 5 years.
Kevin Ellis is our guest this morning on the Aired Out podcast. If you're just tuning in, if you're just joining us, it's about 9:15 or so in the morning. Conflict of Interest is the name of his podcast. Of course, you have also been on Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV for God knows how long.
Yeah. So yeah, I hosted the Friday. Well, I was doing it 3 days a week. Then I went to doing just hosting the Friday Vermont Viewpoint, and I recently took a leave of absence because I found that I was wearing a few too many hats. My son was getting married in California. It was my 40th wedding anniversary, and a bunch of others, not to mention Downstreet Housing board chair. And I was just doing too much at the time, and the radio show takes a fair amount of work. So I asked the owner to give me some time off, which he very nicely did. So I am not doing the show right now, and I am concentrating on the podcast, the Conflict of Interest podcast.
And
So
we should say that,
it's a lot.
yeah, it is a lot. We should tip our hat to Brad Furland and Rob Roper. These guys are, as you are well aware, big hitters with stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love to. Rob Roper and I had a legendary, historic uh, series of debates on the radio.
Yeah,
He
I've heard
came
some.
on. He came on my show, and I came on his show. I suspect that Rob Roper and I disagree about everything under the sun, but that was the point. Was that two people who disagreed could come on the radio and in a good natured way
Yeah.
debate these things and have a good time doing it. And I think we did. I'd like to do more, but yeah, I'm focused on the podcast at the moment.
How do we get the podcast? Just kevinkellis.com.
You can do that. Yes, you can go to my Instagram and click on my bio. All of it is there. You can Google me. Um, You can. I also have a Substack newsletter called Conflict of Interest, and you can. But for the podcast, just Google Kevin Ellis Conflict of Interest, and up it will come
Yeah.
on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Some comments here. We need affordable housing in Washington County. This is not Burlington or Rutland. And another comment saying, stop taking away the motels and hotels so we can get tourists back to Barrie and surrounding areas. What say you about that?
Oh, that's a good one. I appreciate the comments. Well, with respect to the Quality Inn, uh, it was the governor who asked us to do this. Number one, and when the governor asks you to do something, you generally do it. We we were nervous about it because that taking over the Quality Inn got us into the motel business, and suddenly we're a nonprofit housing developer being asked to own and manage a hotel. That is not our core specialty. But we, as I said before, if we're not going to do it, who's going to do it? So we jumped in and we renovated that hotel. I don't think we were taking that hotel off the books so that tourists could stay there. I think tourists are going to stay. In a very nice hotel when we got our hands on it. So I don't think tourists were staying there.
Yeah,
I do understand. I do take the question and I take the point.
yeah.
You're right. We need those tourists to come to Barrie just like they come to Montpelier.
Right. And I not to speak for our listener here, but I think that, what they might be suggesting is that we've got the Comfort Inn right off at exit 7 there, but maybe it would be nice to have something else more in the heart of downtown Barrie or closer to the city.
Boy, wouldn't it be? I mean, I heard you mention earlier the old J.J. Newberry building.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if we could get that revitalized? And now you got Bob Nelson across the street, and you've got the Barrie Social Club, and you've got Pearl Street Pizza, and then you put something else at JJ Newberry, and then you put a small hotel downtown where people could walk to all these great attractions. What a great step forward for Barrie that could be.
Well, we're going to see, what's going to happen here. Obviously, I'm sure you're aware of the news that the city has successfully acquired that 143 Main Street property, which we all know has been an eyesore for far too long, and hopefully it'll be revitalized into something that's productive and good for our community. I mean, there's been talk of it. A lot of red tape and permitting, and we've got to tear it down, and there's going to be some green space in there for a while before we figure out development plans. But, chatter about retail, chatter about housing, chatter about a hybrid of both in that area. But I think we could all agree that it's a hell of a lot better, whatever it's going to be, than what we see now, which is it's more than an eyesore. I mean, it's gone through two recent floods. I mean, God only knows what's crawling around inside that in that space right now. It should have been taken down a million years ago. I think you would agree.
I agree. And I believe the owner is the Jesse Jacobs and his family, along with oh gosh, I can't remember his name. Steve.
Steve,
He's one of the owners of the New England Patriots or the Boston Celtics. I
Celtics,
think he's
Celtics, Stein.
yeah, Lewenstein. Yeah,
Yep,
Steve Lewenstein.
that's it.
Yeah, and so it sounds to me like the city, and I hope I hope that Tom Lozon is right in the middle of this, and I suspect he would be. And I think they made a deal with Lewenstein and Jacobs. And I think that's a great step forward. And I know, Downstreet has been part of discussions around this in terms of what could be done there, what can pencil out in terms of affordable housing, or even non-affordable housing, market rate housing.
Yeah,
Barry is becoming more and more of an attractive place for young workers and others to move because the housing is a little cheaper than it is in Montpelier. So I've got a lot of young friends who have moved to Barrie in the past decade, and I think that's going to accelerate, and they're going to need nice apartments.
yeah. What say you when you're asked? Wait a second. You just said affordable housing. What do you consider affordable? What's affordable? I'm sure you've taken some fire on this.
Yeah, we focus on people who can otherwise not afford market rate housing. But there is what's the word? There's a balance that needs to take place. You need market rate housing and you need affordable housing because the wealth gap in this state, in this country, has grown and it
Yeah,
is growing. And you need both. You need that balance because you can't, it just can't be uh, just housing people who are in trouble or, you've got to house police officers, firefighters, school teachers, uh, the glue that that makes our communities go. Uh, those people need housing, whether it's subsidized affordable housing or whether it's market rate housing. The people who make our communities go day after day, they need places to live. And the old housing stock from when I was a kid is not cutting it anymore. So
yeah.
we've got to innovate. We've got to get better at this. And I think we're doing it.
Straight from the Downstreet uh, website here. We view affordable housing as a home environment that costs no more than 30% of the total household income. We strive to ensure that all of our customers, from rental, tenants to homeowners, achieve and enjoy a living situation that works for them, their family, and their budget. That's affordable. Subsidized, the rent that reflects household income less than 30% of our portfolio. Fixed rate, apartments that have a low fixed rate reserved for households with a below area average median income. And then market rate, apartments with no income eligibility restricted, or restriction rather, rented at a rate less or in line with the housing market, which is what, less than 15% of the portfolio, I think.
Right.
Um, there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to process with that. And a lot of us are kind of walking around through life, Kevin, not really knowing where we're landing with all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the huge problems that we face in Vermont and in this country is that, yeah, in my day, which is I'm talking back in the 80s. My first house I bought in Nashville, Tennessee, it cost me $28,000, and I got a $15,000 grant from the city of Nashville to put a new roof on on the place. Um, that that doesn't really exist anymore, and people are paying. And I was paying, oh, I don't know, 25%, 20% of my income in housing. Uh, that's not happening anymore. People are paying much more. Some people are paying half of their income for housing, and that doesn't leave much left over for food and other necessities in life, a car to get to work. So we've got to figure out a way to get to drive down the amount of money people pay for housing.
Yeah. And
It's just we have to do it.
to preserve the affordable housing that we do have. Tell me about Seminary Street.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a project we're really proud of, and it's we've I think we're finding a way to keep the cost of of those apartments down so that uh, people are not paying more than 30% of their income. Um, Look, it's all about being able to live with dignity in a place where you feel safe.
I love the fact that Downstreet is making themselves so available to our community to say, hey, what's on your mind? What kind of questions do you have? There's no such thing as a dumb question. And just putting themselves out there, not only with forward thinking, but also with just accessibility of information and acknowledging that a lot of this is a deep dive, and we can we can easily get confused, especially the elderly who are trying to figure out what they should do. If they own some property, if they own a home, they've been in it forever, maybe they want to transition out of that, taxes, or maybe they're just living in a home that's too big and they want to think about something different, a different option. What are those options? And it seems like Downstreet's doing a really good job putting themselves out there and making themselves known, and I love that. I mean,
Well,
you're
yeah,
so approachable on on Facebook with questions that you guys do.
we're getting better. We've made some new hires, and our social media game has been improved dramatically over the last year, thanks to Nick Landry and others, Sarah and her team. It's God, it's so important. Number one, and number two, we we have a home ownership center where we answer questions um, from anybody trying to own their first home, and we become your guide to in how to buy a home, how to get a mortgage, uh, how to deal with your bank, and we just become your guide in all things home ownership. And the other thing is, we will take your questions, we will take your calls, uh, and the number, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it is probably on the website. That's one thing we can do, is offer expertise around, you know you're struggling to find an apartment. Where do you live? Tell us what your circumstances are, what's your work situation, etc. Yeah, we want to be the expert that you go to solve your housing issues.
Talk for just a minute here, Kevin, if you would, about VHIP, the Vermont Housing Improvement Program. This is pretty huge. This is in layman's here. This is basically what a grant that you can get, or a loan that you get at a very low interest or no interest at all to improve your home.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And again, I got to give the governor and the legislature credit, and Alex Farrell, the housing commissioner. Uh, they've made these VHIP funds available We use them to plug holes in projects that you know. A lot of times we have a project that we're building apartments, and we are putting the puzzle pieces together with different sources of funding from different places. And VHIP plays a role in that. It also plays a role for citizens themselves who need help finding and paying for apartments. So VHIP's been a big part of sort of stopping the bleeding of our housing crisis, and the legislature and the governor have recognized that. So hats off to them.
Yeah, it says here committed to creating and or preserving over 50 units. I'm guessing across Lamoille, Washington, and Orange counties. But the property owners will receive in total $2 million in funding. So what is it? Like 50 up to 50,000 per property. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And 50 units doesn't sound like a lot when you're looking at Orange, Washington, and Lamoille County. But every little bit helps, and B, it is a big number. And if you were to lose those 50 units, that's 50 people that are in trouble in some way. One thing I've learned from Angie Harbin, our executive director, um, I kept saying, I always say to her, we need to do more. We need to do more. And, and she cautions me, and I've learned so much from her. Uh, she cautions me to say that, you know, every person is different. Every person's personal circumstances are different. And when it comes to people in trouble, she says poverty is complicated. And if somebody is not doesn't have an apartment, or if they're on the street, or they're a police officer or a school teacher, and maybe they've going through a divorce, maybe their spouse or their child is sick. Every family is different. And so what we do, what we hope to do at Downstreet is to use all of these levers: our home ownership center, VHIP, CDBG grants, money we raise privately, and we've raised more this year than we've ever raised in our existence. We try to put all that together to approach to serve the needs of everybody, because everybody's personal situation is different.
Yeah. Speaking of fundraising, you did some remarkable stuff not too long ago, uh, right around the holidays. You personally offered to match every donation that was made to Downstreet, dollar for dollar, up to $5,000.
Yeah.
Kevin, that's just wow, man.
Well, it felt like a lot at the time, but again, I was I said to myself, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And we needed to raise this money, and we did. And when you're a board chair, it comes with certain obligations. You chair the board, you work with the executive director, you run the board meetings, you're the sort of you're a liaison to interest groups and other people. But one of your obligations, and I take this really seriously, is to raise money. And there's an old saying in fundraising for nonprofits, which is give, get, or get off. So it's you have got to give money, or you've got to get money from other sources, or you should it sounds it's oversimplified, right? You either give the money, you get money, or you get off. And that's not true because other board members bring huge reservoirs of expertise to a board, right? If you're a lawyer or if you're financially smart, you can serve on the finance committee, or if you, there's all sorts of ways that you can serve on a board. But when you're the chair, you're responsible for, in my view, raising money. And I like to talk about raising money with the staff. A lot of people think raising money is they're allergic to it. I have never had that problem. I like to talk about who can contribute to Downstreet, who should we be approaching, but it's hard to raise money from other people unless you're willing to open your wallet. And I just couldn't think of a better time to stretch and say, you know what, I've been fortunate in my life, and it's time to put my money where my mouth is. So I did it.
Remarkable. I'm just getting a text here from a friend saying, ask Kevin about some of these nurses and LNAs and medical staff that are coming in from out of market who are trying to affect not only our area nursing homes, but also hospitals. And if there is enough housing for them.
It's a great question. And boy, I'm a little over my head on answering that question. Angie Harbin, um, I can try to text her literally from my phone and say, hey, you should answer this question. Um, there's no question that visiting nurses are here. There's no question they get paid a higher rate than the nurses on staff. Um, Jim Alvarez is a bigwig up at the hospital up the hill, and he is on our board, and it's one of the best board members you can ever have. And he would have better answers to that. I know that the visiting nurses, we don't house them as far as I know, because we don't have that kind of temporary housing. Our focus is on full-time housing for people. So I think the visiting nurses are in hotels, and I think they're in motels, and I think they're in Airbnbs and other forms of temporary housing. Um, and they make do with, it works out for temporary landlords. I know Airbnb is somewhat controversial because it's taking housing away, it's taking permanent housing away. Um, and That's an issue we've got to deal with. It. I know they've dealt with it. They basically banned it up in Burlington, but uh, that's as much as I know about the visiting nurses.
We've seen service workers, we've seen construction workers uh, utilizing our area hotels. And
Yeah.
when it comes to Barrie, when it comes to Berlin, we're talking about the Comfort Inn. We need to keep some of those rooms open for events and tourists, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, another thing that I wanted to tell you, and I know you and I haven't had a chance to meet up and share some coffee, but I'm really hoping that's going to happen at some point soon here. I'm going to make extra effort to make it happen. I know you and I are crazy busy, but another thing I wanted to tell you, Kevin, is it was not that long ago that I was trying to help a family that was coming from, I want to say, Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, that was moving right here to Central Vermont. One was going to be the athletic director at a local school. I don't want to mention the school. And another one was going to be, the mother was going to be a teacher here at a local school. And they had two kids.
Yeah.
They had two kids in tow, packed it all up, signed the contracts, had the jobs, couldn't find a place to live. And we're talking, they were looking for a long time. I don't know how long, but they were really searching. Time ran out. They had to pack it up and start heading east. And they did. And they were searching and trying the whole time while they were traveling. And when they got here, they still had nothing. And they were living in their car
Yeah.
until they got some tents and some camping gear and camped out at the local campground. But it was starting to get into the school year, had started. And now it's not August anymore. It's September and it's starting to get a little chilly. And they were
Yeah.
still trying to find a place to live. Um, that might have been 2-ish years ago. But still, man, I mean, that's not right, bro. There's a big disconnect somewhere. That shouldn't be happening.
It should not be happening. There's another story. I believe there was a similar story. I think they were coming from Boston. I think he was going to be the assistant principal, and they were living in a hotel for several months, and they left because they couldn't get housing. Um, it is unacceptable. If if I was emperor for a day, I would snap my finger and create a lot more housing that's affordable for school teachers. And I'm not, again, Angie Harbin's the expert on this stuff. Why did this happen? One of the reasons is we stopped building housing. Um, and nobody is a bigger advocate of land conservation, farm protection, and Act 250 than me. But somewhere along the line, we lost the ability to build stuff. Um, and we need to be able to build stuff in this state, and it's got to we've got to be able to build it in a way that is affordable to the people who live in the housing and affordable to the developer that develops the housing.
Yeah.
You can't ask developers to uh, build housing and not make a living off the housing. That's what they do. So we live in a capitalist society. People have to make profit, and people deserve a dignified place to live. So the best answer I have is somewhere along the line we took our eye off the ball in the building market rate housing for the people, the glue that keeps our communities together.
Yep.
School teachers being at the top of the list. And if they can't have a place to live, we've really, really screwed up. And we're paying the price now. We're spending a lot of money at the state level. The legislature's appropriating a lot of money, and the governor is making a lot of money available. It's not enough, but we're doing what we can.
Yeah.
But we're paying for our negligence of the past.
God bless the entire staff over at the Central Vermont Career Center and all of the students that are there learning a trade, especially the construction trades, and the wait list to get in there from other surrounding communities, for kids that are like, this is the road I want to be on. Man, I wish that would start really, that and construction materials combined. We need to get more people with real knowledge, swinging hammers, starting their own businesses in the trades. Um, we just need that so much here. We need it everywhere, but especially here in small town Vermont.
Well, and look no further than Governor Phil Scott, a graduate of that technical school, as the prime example of a guy who came out of there and, has made a great life. And boy, you are so right. I think we fell into. I think we, we. I think we fell into this trap where, oh, everyone's got to go to Yale or everyone's got to go to college. Everyone doesn't have to go to college. Everyone doesn't have to go to UVM. Um, and when you're a plumber in this society, you can make a really good living. And we need plumbers and electricians and carpenters and sheet metal workers, and we need those people not just swinging a hammer, but we need them inventing new
Yeah,
things. Uh,
getting their master's license, and maybe starting their own business, big time.
yeah, yeah, they're the ones that are going to innovate us out of. They're the ones that are going to build and deliver the manufactured housing, for instance, the modular housing.
Yeah,
Um, we're fast getting to a point where we've cut down all the trees, and the wood stick housing is too expensive.
yeah,
So modular housing is, I've got friends live in modular housing and they love it. It's energy efficient. It's high tech, and you can have that thing delivered on site and built in a week.
sure.
And who's not for that? If we can do it better and cheaper, we should do it.
Yeah.
And so,
One of my sponsors is Fecto Homes. We're always talking about their ADUs over there, their accessory dwelling units, and how people are just doing this, man. There's big incentives for saving on with tax dollars. You put it on your property, in-law apartments, just whatever you want. It's popular. It's becoming more popular here in Vermont, and you said it. Super energy efficient. Just got a comment here saying you said it. Act 250 killed development. How do you feel about that?
oh, this is great. So I don't politely will disagree, um, because I don't think you can blame Act 250 for everything. You Because Act 250, sort of the double-edged sword here. Act 250 is back in the 2008 economic crash. That did not hit Vermont as badly as it hit the rest of the country. And one of the reasons is because Act 250 uh, stopped needless, heedless development that wasn't properly financed and didn't have the backing that it should have. And so it Act 250 has been a savior for Vermont's economy in a lot of ways when things go bad. Now, does it have issues? Yes. Is it too slow? Yes. I agree with the listener 100%, but I can't blame Act 250 for everything, because um, it saves us. And I got to say, one of the reasons Vermont it looks the way it does is because of Act 250. Um, and we are not New Hampshire, and we are not Massachusetts, and we're certainly not New Jersey. And one of the reasons Vermont remains a beautiful place to live is because of Act 250. Now, the old saying, "You cannot eat the scenery." Um, you know, I think Act 250's got a lot of work to do when it comes to, and this is the other side of the coin, my wearing my downstreet hat. You know, uh, it is too slow. We've got to move faster. We've got to build housing faster, and Act 250 is a key part of that. And they've got to move faster. There's no question about it.
Same listener says 800 million in 5 years. Please tell me how many homes were built. Also says none of them help Vermont when they got to leave the state to pursue their vocational education because of Act 250 red tape. Uh, the poor can't
Yeah.
afford the poor can't afford the red tape, hence stopping construction. A lot of we're both hitting the bee's nest here, man. A lot of comments that are coming in. I hope you get a chance to read them all.
Yeah, I love it. Um, Look, the listeners got a point, and this is being hashed out at the legislature. They did a major change in Act 250 at the legislature 2 years ago, and that law is being executed right now. I know that the governor's staff is going back to the legislature to try to make changes to the housing law that was passed so that we can build stuff faster. Um, I would say at Downstreet, Act 250 has not been the block that that private developers experience, and it's a balance. It's I feel the frustration with Act 250. The problem is, and again, I don't want to be too black and white about this, but the problem is without Act 250, you become New Jersey, and it's a debate. It's a debate, and I agree. There's too much red tape. There's too slow, and they need to move faster.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should get rid of it.
Right. Well, the legislature is very busy right now.
Yeah.
The Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce is hosting a welcome back legislators reception on Wednesday, February 4th at the Governor's Ballroom, the Capitol Plaza Hotel, of course, in Montpelier. Great way to get our community together and ask the questions face-to-face with some of these legislators. I'm not sure if you'll be there, Kevin. I will be. I hope that I know with your schedule you may not be able to be, but it's housing, education. This is big stuff, man. This little state has got a lot of problems that we need to really start getting a grasp on fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and housing is at the top of the list. And we have allowed this housing crisis to get out of control, and we've just got to keep hammering away at it. That Central Vermont Chamber gathering, I love those things because you get one of the things I love about Vermont, and again, you don't get this in New Jersey, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
By the way, I keep talking about New Jersey. I get to do that because I'm from there, and I'm from the Jersey Shore and lived in Vermont for 35 years, but I began life in Jersey. You get to walk into that Capitol Plaza Hotel, and your legislator. You get to walk up to your legislator, introduce yourself, and say hello, and complain to your heart's desire. And the nice thing is that legislator listens.
Yeah.
They will give you their email and their phone number, and they will encourage you to call.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen
No.
in other states, and it happens here.
Yeah. It sure does. Listen, man, you're down. You're out of state right now, right?
I am. I'm down in Washington, D.C., the belly of the beast.
What are you doing down there?
Well, uh, my mother-in-law is in her 90s and needs a little help,
Wow.
and so we're down here helping out. And I have a son and a daughter-in-law down here, and so we've been visiting with them.
Well, listen, I'm not sure when you're going to be back in Vermont, but when you do get back home here, please catch your breath, and let's get over and have a powwow with Downstreet. I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you somewhere, anywhere. It's years overdue. We got to do it, man. Let's meet up and chat. Maybe get you in the studio here, man. I got a nice couch.
I'd love that. We could do a conflict of interest podcast right from your studio.
Would love that. It would be so much fun, man.
Okay.
You're doing such great work, man. KevinKEllis.com is somewhere you should point right now and see more and hear more about Conflict of Interest, his podcast, of course, Vermont Viewpoint, which you're still involved with over at WDEV. Am I right?
Yes. I took a leave of absence for a while just because I've got too busy, and
Yeah,
but I'll be back.
yeah. What a pleasure it was to chat with you this morning, Kevin. An honor as well. You are such a great voice for our state, and we appreciate your time so much. On behalf of all of my listeners this morning, thank you so much.
Hey, JD, thanks a lot. You're my first call when I get back, and I'll see. We'll do a pizza at Pearl Street.
I would love that, man. Thank you again, Kevin. Have a great rest of your day, bud.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Kevin Ellis. Fantastic. Wow. There is so much more that I'm just barely scratching the surface here. So much more that could be and should be said, and hopefully will be said about housing here in Vermont. But man, they are doing great stuff over at Downstreet. One of several organizations here in Vermont that is completely vested in chipping away at the housing issues that so many of us face. Really. And thanks for the comments. Royce, the rest of you. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff this morning. But I'm going to post up on Facebook here in just a little bit. I'm going to make it the Facebook question of the day. What your thoughts, what your feelings are about the city of Barrie acquiring 143 Main Street. Stone's throw from where I'm sitting right now here on North Main Street in Barrie. This old J.J. Newberry building, which has been, like I said earlier, such a deficit to our community for so long. More than an eyesore. Wasted space, I think we would all agree, is something that we just simply can't afford. And maybe we could even put the word anymore at the end of that sentence. We've got to do something. I think most of us would agree that it's more than just an eyesore. It's we need that space, and we need it to be something that is productive and functional and helpful to our community. When I say community, I'm not just talking about Barrie City. I'm talking about all of our communities. Today, if you haven't yet, grab a fresh copy of the World newspaper. Thumb through it. Put on your readers if you have to. And have a look at all of the great things that are happening in our community. There is so much that's going on. Montpelier Winterfest is something that I'm going to be talking about going forward here as we get closer to it. The final weekend in January in Montpelier. It is going to be a weekend filled with family-friendly events. Listen, we're all living here in the snow and the cold. Why not get outside, get some fresh air, have some fun in Vermont's capital? The end of January. They've got all kinds of stuff going on. Horse-drawn wagon rides, indoor activities, outdoor activities, live music, the list goes on. I'm going to be giving you all the details on that. Just diving into the community calendar, also wanted to remind you that today is Tuesday. What does that mean? It means that the Tuesday night dinner is going to be served up over at the American Legion at Post 10 right here in Barrie tonight, 5:30. If you haven't yet, please call ahead and place your order. I'll put the phone number right here in the comments. But it's 479-9058. And tell them JD sent you. I'm not sure what's on the menu tonight, but it's always something that is of comfort food. I know they just had the shepherd's pie not too long ago. But keep an eye on the Barrie Post 10 Facebook page and the World newspaper for the menu. I know that it's in there. I'm going to put it in there right now before I forget, because I will. But here it is, 479-9058. Leave the cooking up to them. They'll take good care of you tonight. Also, grab something at Locarno's to go. If you're, here's the example. Tonight we've got a basketball game. Everything that's happening leading up to that basketball game, there is no time to make dinner at my house. There's no time to get something going in the crock pot. Should have done it this morning. Didn't. Locarno's to go comes to the rescue. You can find them at Harrington's. Find them at Green Mountain Community Fitness. Grab something. Pizza, salads, freshly prepared meals that are made locally right here in Central Vermont. Super fresh. Take it home, pop it in the oven, bang. It's done. 20 minutes. What else? Tomorrow being Wednesday, it's not just a regular Joe Schmo Wednesday. I don't know where I came up with that. But it is Wellness Wednesday. No disrespect to Joe if he's listening. But right here in Barrie, 23 Summer Street, Wellness Wednesday is something that's been going on for a long time through Washington County Mental Health over at the Well Space Building. On Wednesday, the first 3 Wednesdays of the month. So tomorrow being the 21st is going to be the 3rd Wednesday of our new year. It is free. Get over there. Make a reservation for, what time you want your massage. Did I say massage and free? Yes. Table massage, chair massage, you name it. Reserve your time. 479-4055. 479-4055. I'll tell you the name of the lady who's going to answer that phone. Her name is Robin. Tell her you heard JD talking about it on the air, and you'd like to get over there and do whatever. Meditation, acupuncture. They're doing yoga this year. Reiki, myofascial body release, which I have had, which was amazing. It's just like putting pressure on certain areas in your body. Takes the pain away. It's amazing. Was it not just for an hour, but for like the rest of that night? It was incredible. 10,000 plus Vermonters every single year have benefited directly or indirectly from Washington County mental health. Just in the last year alone. Take some time out tomorrow. Reserve your time, 479-4055, for Wellness Wednesday at the Well Space Building on Summer Street. Tomorrow, also, Wednesday, Wing-a-Ding Wednesday over at the VFW Post 790. Donna Thunder brings the music. Ron Tallman and his team bring the wings. They cook them up to order as you wish and serve them up starting at 5 o'clock. Well, Donna Thunder is rocking out like there's no business. It is a great time. It's tomorrow. Also, quick note here, Brush Bash, as I've been talking about, they are open right next to the Granite Museum at Jones Brothers Way. Kids, teens, adults can create and rage and paint and throw things and smash stuff safely. Birthday parties, groups, celebrations. The whole family is going to love it. Brush-bash.com and on Facebook too. Let's see. What else did I want to tell you this morning? Is that it? Oh, today's Tuesday, $5 Tuesdays back at the Capitol Theater in Montpelier. $5 movies at the Capitol Theater. All movies, day, night, whatever. Doesn't matter what the movie is or when it's showing. They're all $5. Capitol Theater. FGBtheaters.com for all of the listings of what's playing. And there's some great movies playing right now. Yeah. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, they do $5 Wednesdays at the Paramount Twin right here in Barrie. So keep that in mind. $5 for a movie. Get the popcorn going. Awesome. Optical Expressions, one of my sponsors, presenting sponsors here at the Aired Out Podcast, has a big sale going on this month. And we're winding down. It's 20 days in now. 25% off all in-stock prescription and non-prescription sunglasses. 25% off. Fourth floor of the Blanchard Block right here in Barrie. Yesterday, I got over to Montpelier Volkswagen, presenting sponsor of the Aired Out Podcast. Got a chance to chat with Jason Trombley. And man, that guy is, man, is he busy right now. Yesterday, Martin Luther King Day. I mean, huge, huge day in the car sales business. They were so busy. They have some really cool stuff going on right now. The 2025 Atlas, which I may or may not have fallen in love with, 0.9% APR. The 2025 Atlas Crossport, 1.9% APR. Yes, I took some notes. The 25 Tiguan, year-end financing, 2.9%. The Tiguan S, the sporty one, zero down lease for $389 a month. Have you seen these cars? Have you seen the Atlas Crossport or the Tiguan? These are beautiful automobiles. MontpelierVolkswagen.com if you want to browse. Get over there, 1189 U.S. Route 2 in Berlin, just past the roundabout, or shoot them an email, info@MontpelierVolkswagen.com. Set up a time to get over there and test drive something. Again, cloudy skies, 17 today, and the cold snap is coming. And I see on Facebook a lot of our fire departments, police departments, city managers, both Montpelier and in Barrie and Burlington, preparing for this cold snap. The shelters are open and will remain open for anyone who needs them. And I encourage you to make sure that you're reaching out to your community, to someone who may look like they could use a shelter. They could use a hot cup of something, a warm blanket, and a place to put their head down. I encourage you to reach out to them and say, hey, here's the shelters. They're open. I've got the full list here. I'm going to make a point of sharing that full list, where they are, Barrie, Montpelier, when they're open. Tess has been amazing. I probably will run over there and chat with her at some point, maybe later today, and maybe sneak her on the phone on Thursday or Friday this week, because the snap is coming. I think, Friday night? Daytime high on Saturday of -1? Wow. I'm not that I'm, complaining or anything. I mean, I know where we live. I live here in Vermont. It's cold up here. You know, there are a lot of dumb, made-up holidays now, like Squirrel Appreciation Day tomorrow. But some holidays do deserve to exist. Today is National Disc Jockey Day today. And although I'm no longer a disc jockey, a DJ, I still tip my hat to all of them that are still hanging around in radio. January 20th, in the original disc jockey, Alan Freed, Moondog, passed away 61 years ago today in 1965. He was one of the guys that helped come up with the term rock and roll in the 50s. I don't know if you even know what I'm talking about, but that's all right. Live on, Moondog. God bless everyone. Listen, if you enjoyed the podcast today, Kevin Ellis, absolutely incredible, making us think, engaging in conversation that's, I thought, was riveting this morning. Share this episode. If you like the podcast, tell your friends, follow the page, give a like, give a comment, give a share. We will see you tomorrow. Loudon Granger going to be with me in the studio. This guy brings the goods. He's probably going to be bringing his flip-flops too. It's going to be a great show tomorrow morning with Sweethearts and Heroes. Tune in. We'll see you then. God bless. Take good care. Thank you so much.